Now, around this time, I definitely like to have a lot of reds, a lot of whites, a lot of greens. I like to be in the Christmas spirit. So, my Amaryllis bloom is red. And I hope I didn't mislabel these because that has happened in the past. But what we're doing is we're going to play off the traditional Christmas colors here. Now, I have a beautiful vintage white container here, and we're going to come in and we're going to plant up this easy arrangement, you guys. It'll be very easy to duplicate, and if you end up trying it, let me know over on my Instagram at _garden_queen if you were able to duplicate it or not, and or on the next video, let me know. And I would like to know down in the comment box, are you planting on the inside? So now let's go ahead, let's hop into this. So I have my soil, and I'm not going to need much soil because the Amaryllis bulb, we're going to keep the Amaryllis bulb just as it is, okay? Now, if you wanted to, you can go in and break away some of the soil. Now, when I plant on the inside of my home, I do like to take my tub from room to room. That way it helps keep down on the mess. So let's move this over. Probably need a little bit more space for my planting tub, so let me go grab it. All right, so I have my planting tub here, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer my container over here. Now, this is a square container. Baby, we're not about to plant this up square. We're not going to have it sitting on the table square, because that would be so square of us to do such. So we planted these up around September the 26th, the 27th. We planted these up, and the goal was to come in and have these blooming about the last week of November or the first week of December. And I see my soil here because I have kept these more on the dry side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this completely in here just like this, and I have a little bit too much soil up underneath it. Okay, took care of itself, but since it just broke apart like that, now what I should have done is come in the night before and give my Amaryllis bulb a little water. That way it would have compacted more. Okay, so I am going to add soil just in there around those roots, you guys. I'm coming in and I'm tucking everything back, but I'm also making sure that I'm providing myself enough room for my plant that's going to accompany this arrangement. And I may have to go get a little bit more soil because I was not banking on that soil breaking up like that. With my first flower here, does this look straight, you guys? Let me know down in the comments. Get some more soil. You want to make sure the roots of our Gerber daisy is 100% packed in. And so if you're doing mixed arrangements with Amaryllis bulbs, just make sure when you're using your accompanying plants that those are mixed in. Now, choices of plants. Okay. So now we have this right here, right? So this is coming, sitting right here. And then okay, now we're going to come in with the third one right here, and so everything is tucked in. Going to come in and add a little bit more soil here in the front. Now, you guys, isn't this gorgeous? Now imagine that we have our Amaryllis bulb and it's absolutely 100% in bloom. It's doing its thing, and all you see is this big, beautiful show at the top, and then you have the Gerber daisies here that are the understory. Now, I am going to be placing this in a bright, sunny location, so the room with the most light. I am also going to be making sure I go in and I rotate this. Now, once my Amaryllis bulb starts to bloom, if it starts to bend over, I'll show you guys a secret how you can actually get your Amaryllis bulb to stand up without having any type of sticks and twigs. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I love a good forest, woodland looking arrangement where you have the amaryllis bulb that comes up and blooms and all of those sticks and the moss and all of that. Absolutely beautiful. But sometimes you got to switch stuff up. One of my container looks full, but the back looks very naked. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to dress this up, okay? So let's move this back here. And we'll bring in center stage some water. And we have some beautiful big chunks of moss here. Now, I like to go in and clean out anything that's not attractive at this time. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to put the moss in the water a little bit. And what that is going to do is that is going to allow us to shape the moss to the container a little bit better. Okay, so I'm just coming in, and to make sure I'm not saturating it, I don't necessarily want to get it on my ball, because remember the goal of that, my bulb, excuse me, the goal is to keep this bulb on the drier side. And I break it apart. This is also going to help anchor in our amaryllis bulb here. So we're coming in around the side. We're tucking it. So you see how I have this space here? Because let me tell you something. When you guys are doing container arrangements, and it never fails, you're going to have that nosy friend, that nosy neighbor, that nosy family member, the nosy serviceman is going to take a peek down in there, because they want to see, is this arrangement real? Because, honey, we're not supposed to have no arrangements living in plants and things like that on the inside of our house. So what I like to do, you go in, you pop it right on in here. Pop it right on in. And then sometimes you got to break this off, the bottom part, because it is a little bit higher depending on what type of moss you get. And I like to shake this out. And there you have it. So in the back, gorgeous. Okay, so now since we have this, let's go ahead, let's style this how I would have it sitting, okay? Let's go ahead, let's style it real quick. Let's wash this up real quick. Is all cleaned up, washed down, so it's crystal clear. Now let's go get how we're going to set this on our tables here. Wipe this down a little bit. Mirror here, and we have a vintage look on it. So we're going to come in, we're going to clean this off really quick. And when I'm doing this, you guys, I like to keep paper towels behind me, so that way I can get done and I don't have to go searching. Set this, okay? So we're going to take our beautiful planter here, you guys. It's absolutely 100% gorgeous. Okay, so we're going to set this. Remember I said we're not coming in and we're not going to set it down. We're not going to do that. Okay, so we're going to come in and we're going to set this right here, right? So now you have all of this angle to go ahead and style now. This sitting here, it gives us a beautiful reflection down on top of the mirror. So then we come in and we set our dish here, and then we want to come in and we want to color block it, okay? So we're going to come in and we're going to add some of our limes that we harvested the other day. If you guys missed that video, it was absolutely, I had a lot of fun doing it. So we have our limes, our Mexican limes here. Let's take this a step further. We want to make sure that we're having a good time. So what we're going to do, you want to let them know that everything was done by intention. So we're going to take this and we're going to rest this just like that. So how gorgeous is this? Close your eyes for a second. You walk into the room and you see that on a sideboard table, on a nightstand, you have this beautiful arrangement here. And what do you have sitting on top? You have this beautiful arrangement. You have your beautiful Gerber daisies. Your Amaryllis bulb is in full-on bloom. This is a red Amaryllis. And when they try to check you, when they try to fact check you on the back, they see that you have your moss here. And it's just not any moss. It has a little bit of texture and beauty to it. But then you go ahead and you get your drink, or they look down and they say, is that real? Yes, it's real limes. Or you're having drinks, would you like another lime? Oh, it's one right there. Just adding these little simple treasures around your home, you guys, definitely elevates the look. In this area here, we have a total of 14 containers that I'm going to be doing. And you guys, I'm so excited about the show. Even though our daytime temperatures have been like in the 50s, we are dropping down into freezing temps. So because I have these large vessels, a lot of them are actually frozen. So this container here, frozen. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to start out by boiling some water, and I'm going to go ahead and pour the water in these containers so we can get it nice and pliable, so we'll be able to stick our stems in it. So let me go get the first bucket of water. Remove blow out all the leaves from this area. That way when we have our winter containers done, everything looks nice and fresh. And you guys, a lot of the times with gardening, I tell people it's so much, 80% of just preparation and 100% enjoying and reaping the benefits, except for in the summertime. And that's one of the beauties about winter containers, you guys. Once you guys put your winter containers in place, you don't have to be out there spraying this spray, spraying that spray, because once the temperature gets cold enough and it freezes, it's going to freeze everything in place. So let me get off my soapbox. Let's go ahead and let's start blowing all of these leaves out. Now, I will say the way the light is coming through in this area, I wish it was just all full sun, but it may make it a little bit harder to actually see what's going on. But I want to go ahead and start moving out all of these leaves in this area. So let's get started. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay all of the evergreen branches out, you guys, and so you guys can see what I'm starting with. I have a box full of just like the different accents here because I have a lot of containers that I'm going to be planting up. So like the different arborvitaes and the different Leland cypress that I showed you guys. I also have over here in this one, you guys, I have pine cones as well. But let me show you how we're going to do these containers up. So I'm thinking that in these containers right here, I'm going to come in and I am going to use these tall birch logs. I have a ton of birch logs here. So I think I would go probably one. As you guys can see, these birch logs here, they're very tall and they extend up almost to the top. That's the look that I'm going for. But in order to secure these in, I am going to go in and I'm going to mallet these in place real quick. Have this birch log in, and I'm okay with it extending a little bit beyond the sunroom here, and if I need to later on I can go in and adjust it. I'm going to start to add my stems here. What I'm going to do now, because it is getting dark, I am going to go ahead and put my infrastructure in on the other side. We have the infrastructure in place for the 2 terracotta pots. But you guys, we're definitely not done. Now I could go ahead, set the scene up, and we could go ahead and shoot a video in the dark. And I've done that before, especially during Christmas time, because I feel like it really illuminates the area. But I'm not interested in doing that today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to call the video quits for this section right now, and I'll meet you guys bright and early in the morning. I'll definitely have some hot coffee because hey, it is December, and who knows, we might have to put on a couple of boiling hot pots again. The pots might just freeze up overnight. So see you guys in the morning. Hi you guys. So I'm excited, I'm ready to finish everything, and you know what you guys, overnight I literally, my mind was just racing, and part of me wanted to pull the birchwood logs here. I'm going to go through with the installation that we have going here. Now, a couple of different things that I want to do. I am going to check to see if the soil is still pliable. But you guys, in these containers here, we're going to also use birch woods in our front container. So let's move up a little bit and we'll look at the front container. All right, you guys. So it seems like the soil is a little bit frozen already again. So we'll go ahead, we'll get some boiling water on the stove. But what we're going to do while the water is boiling, I'm going to actually come in and add birch to the containers here as well, because I want everything to be cohesive, baby, and I want it to be on point. Have these 2 birch logs here, right? Let me get a sip of my coffee and then I'll go ahead and set this down. You guys, so I have these 2 birch logs here. So train of thought is thinking this way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I am going to add birch log here and birch log here, because I want cohesion from the front to the back. You guys, it is going to be epic if everything goes the way that I have it planned out in mind. But you guys, also in addition to that, I'm going to come in with some red twig dogwood. Let me run and go get a bundle of the red twig and I'll be right back. Alright, so you guys, okay, it's pliable, so I can get these in here. So hold on. Whoa, oh, oh. drama, all of the fabulosoness going on in this container. But I'm not done, and as I'm going to try to insert the stems down, I'm being met with resistance. So it's only, what I need to do is go ahead and melt these, warm up the soil a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna use a little bit of boiling water in there because we don't want it drenching wet. And that's good for our evergreens because it'll go ahead and it'll freeze up and it'll hold everything in place. Now, while we have the boiling water on, what I'm going to do is we're going to have to use power tools in order to get the look that we want. So, let me show you what I mean by that. I have these birch logs here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm just going to make some real quick cuts. And so, by me making my cuts, instead of me going to buy, so you can buy a bundle of 3 for like $16.99, or you can take one of these, I think these are 6 feet, maybe 6 feet birch poles, and cut them down to the size you need instead of spending $16.99 on them. So again, you guys, anytime I can show you guys ways on how to save money with your winter containers, I'm going to do just that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start making these cuts. We already have our boiling water on, so we'll go ahead and get these prepared. And I'm thinking that I'll probably do like 2 in these containers, 2 in those. We definitely going to represent for the big tall urns as well. So let's go ahead and get to it. I have all of the wood cut that I need. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is 2 here. Matter of fact, let's just get the infrastructure in place for these ones, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do. Baby, look at this. Honey, we got amaryllis for days. You see that? So these are the amaryllis bulbs that we started. Let me set this down. It's heavy. Ooh. These are the amaryllis bulbs that we rebloomed. Penelope, ma'am. You're okay, mama. Sit down, girl. Sit down. Sit down. Good girl. Sit. Okay, now sit. Come on. Come on, sit. Sit. Penelope. Come on, girl. Good girl. No. You want to go back inside? Sit. Then come on, let's go. Then sit. Come on, girl. Okay, you guys, so these are the amaryllis bulbs that we rebloomed on 9/27. So I took you guys through the process where we planted them up, and now we are reaping the reward. As stated in that video, I wanted to plant these up in a beautiful arrangement around the time right before the buds went into bloom. Now, also previously on Garden Queen, we went in and we planted up a beautiful pot using an antique pot, and you guys, that is ready to bloom. So what we're going to do is bud it up just like this. You see these big healthy blooms? So this was from 9/27. These are our Amaryllis. So what we did was we literally came in, we took our old blooms, potted those up that we had sitting outside. The sun was able to provide them with energy. We kind of did a little bit of a cooling period, and what we did is we potted those up, and you guys can see we reap the benefits. So what are we doing, you guys? We're saving money. So a lot of these nurseries right now are really charging for amaryllis bulb because there has been a boom in gardening, which is great. It's so many people interested in gardening, but a lot of times what that does is it raises the price for us. Then on top of that, we're already dealing with inflation. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in, we're going to do an arrangement. Earlier we went to Home Depot and I was trying to find some true white poinsettia, not that yellowish kind of like creamy color, chartreuse, green, pale yellow. I mean a true white, and we found some at Home Depot. The only problem was they were not in good shape, so I did not want to waste my money on those. So what we're going to do is we're going to head in, we're going to do a beautiful arrangement, we're going to grab some pots, and we're going to get this display together, because you guys, where this is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Now all of these amaryllis bulbs are not going there because we have different colors over there. We have pink over there, we have red over there, we have red and white over there. We also have some that are not all the way bloomed out. So these are in its early stages right here, and I don't know how I'm about to get up in this. Let me take her inside first, and I'll come back and I'll get my plants. So I'm gonna take Penelope inside, then I'll come back, I'll get my plants, and then we'll meet inside. I hope y'all got y'all coffee because it's getting good, ain't it? Yes, honey, yes. Come on, girl. We have a beautiful show of amaryllis bulbs. As you all can see, we have one that's taller, and then they kind of go down from there. In order to make sure my blooms are getting even, they're not shifting towards the sun, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to be coming in and I am going to be turning this arrangement just like this. Now, this is going to be sitting on the sideboard, so it's not going to be that easy. It's going to be more like me picking this up, turning it around, setting it back in its place. That way, my blooms are going to come in very even. Now, although this is beautiful, and we could come in and just dress this up easy with some moss, We could use some pine cones, but we're going to elevate this because in my kitchen, I like to keep more of an upscale look in my kitchen. I like to put on a show on my kitchen. I like to have, especially on the sideboard, I love to have big displays of flowers for any type of event, and the holiday is definitely no exception to the rule. I'm going to slightly dress this up. We're going to use frosty ferns. And what we're going to do is we're just going to create a bit of elegance here. And so by doing this, it's going to be very easy for us because the only thing we're doing is we're literally coming in between the bulbs and we are going to etch our frosty ferns right on in there. And it's going to be real simple, real easy to just come in just like this. And we're going to have our frosty ferns because we have some mechanics that we're going to be adding to this look. You guys, look at that. Absolutely 100% gorgeous. Amazing and beautiful. And once we get done and we break this arrangement down, our frosty ferns, we can then use them in our next arrangement. And I've done videos showing you guys how simple it is to break down your arrangement and go ahead and reuse the plants again, especially when you're doing indoor arrangements. Alright, so now we're going to come in and I'm just going to break apart this frosty fern. Very simple and easy to do. And this is going to help hide our mechanics, you guys. Alright, so now keep in mind, this is Christmas, so I definitely want this arrangement to give a Christmas vibe. Now, after the Christmas season, I am one that will go in, I will break this beautiful arrangement down, and then what I will do is I will go ahead and just give my amaryllis bulbs, if they're still in bloom, I will go ahead and I will give them more of a winter look or just a beautiful amaryllis arrangement. So we have these beautiful lights, and the one thing that I like about these are copper. Now I have a copper kitchen, you guys, and I love that any chance and opportunity that I get to actually display any forms or hints of copper, I go in and I do it without fail. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this sitting in there. And if you guys are going to dig into indoor arrangements, it's best to go ahead and start doing things like getting your candles, because we could have came in and also used some beautiful candles that would definitely gave us the look that we're going for. And so with these, we're just roughing these up. Same thing here. You kind of just want them just going around, and we're coming in and we are roughing these up. You're gonna have that nosy person that want to stick their business all down in your situation because they want to know, is this real? Because again, it's the wintertime, guys. We're not supposed to have beautiful big plants and blooms. I don't know why not. There's one thing to have a house plant, but it has flowers on it too. So you come in with your dial. Now, what I like to do is I paint up a couple of dials at one time. Only thing I'm doing is I'm coming in just like this. And I'm going to make sure that I'm not getting my amaryllis bulbs. And you can actually have your lights coming layered just like that. But if you're doing that, you're going to have to wrap your dial a little bit. If it's too tall, you can easily come in and just give it a snip. So remember again to go away from your bulb, and you want some of these to stick up. Okay, there we go. That's more of what I'm looking for right there. Okay, just like that. You see what I'm saying? A little bit higher. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to come in, same thing right here. We want to take our dial and we're going to just stick it down in the soil here. Again, we're avoiding our bulbs. Just like that. And you can do these. I don't really fuss with these too much. I just don't like them to be just all spread out. Okay. Same thing on the end. Now by looking at this, I can already tell this is too long. So I'm going to come in and just make a quick snip. Alright, so now I shorten it just a tad. I'm going to go in right here on the side. And what this is going to do is if your amaryllis bulb starts to move around, it's going to make it a lot easier to have something to tie it to. And we're going to just, again, same thing here, just push this down. Now, what you can do is you can take some sheet mulch and you can come in and you can cover up your mechanics. I said sheet mulch, but it's not sheet mulch, it's sheet moss. I've used sheet moss. I've used pine cones to cover them up. Meaning that you have this black box here. So you have a black box that comes with these lights. So what I've done is I've taken and I've put big pine cones on there, covered them up. I've actually came in, I've spray painted boxes, I've taken fabric, laid fabric down in there. You guys, the possibilities are absolutely 100% endless when it comes to flowers. Get this in its place. This is the part that I hate because you guys, it would have been so much easier to do this right there on the stand, but sometimes the lighting just is not right. But baby, this thing is heavy and there's nobody here to help me get it in place. So you got to use them legs. This is how you get them strong knees so you can, woo, drop it like that. You see what I'm saying? That's how you get them strong knees so when you need to come in, you can, hey, hey. Okay, pray for me. All right, gardener down. all of the containers done. But what I want to do to complete my look is I want to make sure that I have a beautiful centerpiece, because you guys, we're supposed to get up in the 70s, and that's one of the things that I enjoy, is sitting outside in my garden no matter what time, what season it is. So in December, in the 70s, and I'm going to sit outside and I'm going to love every minute of it, having coffee, reading a book, or even just simply browsing the internet or answering emails. Soil here, now we don't need much because our vessel's not very big. I'm not going to worry about putting anything in the bottom of it. So about a scoop, and maybe I'll get another scoop. Maybe this is a little bit too much, but if we would have started with a healthy scoop from the beginning, we could have gotten away with just using one scoop. Okay, so now it's full, you guys, and I am going to pack a little bit more in there because I am going to be watering this. Okay, so now, guys, that I have here, I have some remnants of my red twig dogwood. I have my Port Orford cedar here, and then I also have some Fraser fir. You guys, I love Fraser fir, and you guys, if you want to know how to save money on your containers, I have a video that I did last year, and I'll go ahead and I'll link that for us. But what we're going to do, and I also have some birch logs, but I have them on picks, okay? And it's perfect for this little container. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go in and I'm going to put my picks into place, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to make a real quick cut. So what I want to do is I've already made my first cut here with my birch, and if I were to go in and put this in, it would not hold up. So one of the things that I always try to keep on hand is a little bit of chicken wire, and it comes in handy at different times. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to make our cuts to the chicken wire real quick, and I don't need a big piece because I just need the chicken wire to act as a stabilizer. Alright, so I just have a little small piece of chicken wire right here. I'm going to take the rest and just set this off to the side real quick. Ooh, I thought I had got Penelope. Alright, so let me go ahead and get my gloves on real quick. Alright, so I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to wrap this up underneath the soil. And just kind of just bury it on in. I am going to go ahead and give us a little bit of height. And I'm going to add just a little bit more soil here. Now, one of the things you can do is you can use rice hulls, and that will help stabilize it a little bit more. But I'm going to put that first one in, and you see how that instantly just gives me the capability to keep my birch log in place. And I want this to be a little bit taller. Alright, so I'm going to come in about so. Nope. Here, we'll go. Actually, what we'll do is we'll go shorter here. And one thing you can do, if it's not staying, you can take and kind of twist your birch log. Right, and then you want to have that next one in, and I want that to be maybe a little bit shorter. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so as I start to put my stems in here, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to start to add my red twig dogwood. Just kind of just going in sporadically and just adding that on in. So I'm going to come in with my winter greens, right? And I'm going to put these in a fashion so that they kind of stick in but stick out at the same time. And you are going to be able to see this container from all areas. So anything that you cut in these small containers, you put it off to the side because you can come back and use it. Anything that you cut, just come back and use it. Nothing is waste. So I feel like I kind of have this full enough, and let me put a little bit more in the front. Okay, and come back in and just tuck it right here in the front. Okay, so now I'm going to come in and just slightly add some of our cedar here. Certain look I'm going for. Okay, see what difference that makes when you come back in and just add just a little bit more of that green. So I'm seeing a lot of blue here. A little bit for the back, because you will be able to see it, so I got at least a little bit. So I'm going to have this winter container gracing a table over in the lion fountain area. So let's go ahead and let's get this beautiful container in its place. So before we go, let's grab our paintbrush, let's grab our pruners. That way, if it's anything that we need to critique when we get over there, you know, just nip and tuck a little. We won't have to come all the way back over here and get them. So let's go ahead and let's get this beauty in its place.
Whoa, oh, oh. La da da da, oh, oh, oh. La da da da, oh, oh, oh. La da da da, making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep.
I already went in and I sprayed it with Wilt Stop. It's an anti-transparent, and what it does is it helps seals in the moisture, and it also helps you keep that prolonged green color that we all long for in our winter container. So I decided to go ahead and pull the other containers that I had in this area because I just wanted a new look, and that's something that I love to do in my garden. I love to just change out the containers, and that way it keeps everything fresh. Now let me go ahead and show you guys what this area is looking like, because I'm dying to show you guys. I'm not sure if you're dying to see it, but if you are, go ahead and drop down in that comment box and say, reveal the area already. I achieved this look. In this container here, I started off with my birch logs, and I built out my container in a way that you would get just the smallest hint of birch. So depending on what angle you're walking in, which angle you're passing the container, you can see the birch logs just peeking up slightly above the green. And then we use some beautiful red twig dogwood, and I didn't want the red twig dogwood that had that deep heavy color, so I got very excited when I came upon this red twig dogwood that was very bright, it was very vibrant, and I went crazy, you guys. So instantly I knew that I was going to definitely have red twig dogwoods in every single one of my containers out here. Now, we also softened the red twig dogwood and gave you just a little hint of the Port Orford cedar here, and you have that going, and then you have the Fraser fir that I just love to use in my containers. Now let's go ahead and let's move on to the next container here. These urns here, I went in and I wanted to have a bold statement with these birch logs. So I went in with 2 taller ones, anchored them out. Of course, I accented with the red twig dogwood. Again, the Port Orford cedar, and then the Fraser fir that I so love. And it gave me the look that I was going for. So while this container can stand on its own, it actually complemented the other container, brings that look of cohesion in. Now if we go down to the container in the front, in this container down in the front, I did not use any type of birch logs because I wanted to give the eye some rest, and that way, by not using any birch logs, it gave the red twig dogwood the opportunity to stand out. I echoed that same pattern and the container behind, because that container is smaller, so therefore it complements and lets you know that this is a cohesive look, and it draws your eye back to the terracotta pots that we have right here. So with our terracotta pots, we basically repeated the same pattern, except for we used these massive birch logs to bring you in and anchor the entire look in from the back. And you guys, I'm so satisfied with my selection, and I'm glad that I did not jump ship and switch out from this look. And I repeated the look again with the other container on the opposite side, and I'm so glad that I did that. So let's take a moment to take all of this in, because it's definitely a lot to look at.
Well, I'm all for Christmas, all the happy smiles and the wishes, and I want it all, from the lights to the mistletoe. Tell me one thing, is
I have these containers all dressed up, and I'm going to leave these evergreens in place until I pull them out for the springtime. So you guys, let me know what you think about this area. If you're enjoying videos like this, go ahead, click that subscription button. We love to have you join us. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Star of the show. Woo! Baby, yes, honey. Let me show you guys how we're going to prep some of the greenery here. Now, I have this beautiful princess pine, you guys. It's great for winter floor arrangements, and I might even add a little bit of cypress in there. Nothing too much, just the greenery that you will actually find outside that's usable for floor arrangements. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to go in and we're going to make sure that our pine is able to stay looking good for quite some time. So the first thing we want to do is hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Now, what I want to do first is we're going to just take the rubber band off real quick. And then once we do that, I'll show you guys everything else that we have on the table here. All right. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to make our cuts here, and everything gets a fresh cut, including the pine. going to let my pine just soak for just a little bit longer, and then I'll go ahead and I'll place the pine on top of a towel and we'll dry it out. The reason why I am dousing this princess pine in water is just to go ahead and just give it some hydration. That's to kind of just really just soak this overnight, and that way it can take up water. Also, you guys, if you have winter greens and your winter greens are not looking fresh, or you can take it down, take the pine cones, take any type of floral off of it, and just douse it inside of the water, any of the decorations before you do it, and just go ahead and just douse it inside of the water, and it will give your evergreens just a fresh look. I have a video where I talk about that, you guys. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dump out this excess water real quick. The next thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and prep our floral preserve. Now, most often you would think that more is better, but in this situation that is the furthest thing from the truth. So this little packet here only calls for 1 pint of water. So in essence, that's really just 2 U.S. cups. So 2 U.S. cups. So just this right here. That's really not a lot of water. But what I like to do is I like to go ahead and just dissolve my floral preserve. And then once I dissolve my floral preserve, I like to start out with quite a bit of water from the beginning, more than what the packet is calling for. That way I know my flowers are not drying out. So let's go ahead and prep the floral preserve. And the paper towels is more or less just to take up the water. Let's dive into the flowers. So when I set my flowers up, have them soaking water up, the first thing I do is I go ahead and I remove any rubber bands that they have on them. That way they can stretch out and expand. And it's very important to make sure, you guys, not to overstuff your bucket. The star of the show. Woo! Baby, yes, honey. Let's get into that, honey, yes. We're not doing any reds. No, ma'am. We want it to be a coral orange scene in there. And that way it complements my kitchen as well. Can we get into that? Wait a minute. Let's take a second and let's get into that. Just gorgeous all by itself. But, okay, let me plop these in there. Okay, because we're not done prepping, right? So the next step that we're going to do, we are going to go ahead and we're going to continue to prep our princess pine. All right, so we have our princess pine here, right? And it's still a little bit wet, and that's okay. That's okay. It will dry out. But what I'm going to do, now that I have the follicles opened up in the princess pine, I am going to come in and I am going to spray some wilt proof. Now, I use wilt proof. I also use the wilt stop. And I have that in the ready to spray form as well as the concentrated form. So, you guys, these are things that I feel like if you're going to be doing cut flower arrangements, a winter arrangement, it's just something that I feel like I just have to have in my DIY floral arranging cabinet, because you just never know when you'll need it. So I'm going to go ahead and start to spray this. So I'm just going to make sure I miss this and I get all of this well. So Gonna make sure I touch every single stem. Has some time to go ahead and dry out. Do you guys see how it's starting to come back into its form? So it's not as fluffy as it was prior to us going in and soaking it and everything, but it will get back to normal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stand this upright. All right, so we have our princess pine here. Now, what we're going to do is let's go ahead and let's start working. I'm going to be using this picture as a beautiful vase to blend in with my kitchen. I have a copper kitchen, you guys. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead, and this is going to be our vessel. And you're going to see this copper base. We're going to have everything around the bottom of it. And then you'll have the vase with this beautiful floral arrangement. And I'm going to elevate it a little bit. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and let's prep our frog. I don't use floral form. What I use is I use a little bit of chicken wire. And you guys, if you put it in there, for me, it acts as a frog. Now, there are some situations where chicken wire may not hold your flowers into place like you need it to be. We're going to get our floral preserve in there, and let's just go ahead and just do this floral arrangement. So what do you guys think? I'm obsessed. I'm loving it. I love the colors. I'm obsessed. I love that the white speaks more to the wintertime. You have your bright pop of color, but then you also have a juxtaposition with the eucalyptus as well as the princess pine, because again, the eucalyptus to me speaks more towards the wintertime vibes, but the princess pine also, along with the cedar, also speaks to the wintertime, because these are the winter greens that we will have in my zone 6B garden. Let's go over the recipe that I use for this floral arrangement. You guys, I love, love, love to use roses. So we use a dozen roses. We use chrysanthemum, eucalyptus, princess pine, Leland cedar, and then we also went in with a coral St. John's wort. Now, to me, the St. John's wort, I went with a coral, so that way it's a little softer tone than our orange or tangerine roses here. And I just love it. And I love the way that it doesn't compete with the vase here. Now, if I would have went white, to me, that would have spoke more towards a spring arrangement. But I went ahead and went with the copper here. And so that way, it'll just easily fit in nice on my kitchen island. Now, one thing about the princess pine, if you get up close and you look at the princess pine, you can start to see it age just slightly, or like it has on its winter color. I do have more princess pine here on hand that I could have used, but I decided to go with this one because the amber hues really just brings the entire arrangement back together. This arrangement is going to be viewed from all sides on the kitchen island, so I made sure that every side of this arrangement is packed to the brims. The color just bursting out from all around. Even though you have a lot of the colors that are similar, even though you have a lot of color echoes with the coral and the tangerine, and then you have your pops of white, you are definitely able to take it all in because we have so many different textures, from the princess pine to the Leland cypress as well as the eucalyptus. So your eye is just not looking at a big blob of color. You're able to dissect it, and it certainly makes for a great conversation piece. If you're enjoying content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel, especially if it's your third or fourth time here, or maybe if it's even your first. Go ahead, click the subscription button. It doesn't cost you anything to join our channel over here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. That's a wrap.